All right, we are live. NXT Takeover Vengeance Day. We are covering it. Got me here, Radar for Wrestling Channel. Welcome to the channel back. Got Jonesy Chats Wrestling here with me covering right now. We're going to go over the entire match card for NXT Takeover Vengeance Day. It's coming tomorrow night, Sunday night on the WWE Network. We're going to go over all the matches, and Jonesy's got some special betting odds.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me on the channel. It's great to be here.
Of course, bro. How's it going?
Very good. Yeah, excited for the takeover tomorrow night. It's going to be one of the pay-per-views of the year so far, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, big time. It's going to be really, really good. Really good stuff. I can't remember, like I said, the last time they had a bad takeover. Yeah, they're usually always extremely stellar.
I think it'd be good. I think they haven't got a lot of matches, so I think the quality of the matches and it's just going to be really, really exciting. I think the fact that we've got that main event would be a 5-star match anywhere, anytime, really, I think.
Yeah, big time it will be. So what do you think is going to happen? Which match do you think is going to start off the show?
I think it'll be one of the Dusty Classics. I presume we're going to get the men's Dusty Classics. I think obviously MSK, Grizzled Young Veterans, that would make sense. I think it's quite high energy. MSK bring a lot of high energy. They're very much like the Acclaimed of AEW. They've got that kind of feel to me. For me, obviously, they did some great work in Impact Wrestling. So I think they'll probably start with that match. I presume. Yeah,
I think so as well. All right, so let's get to the first match. I think it's going to be probably the women's. Dusty Classic match, probably going to start it off. What are the betting odds currently for this match?
Betting odds, it's really, really close. Actually, we look at it. Dakota, Raquel, Gonzalez. In the last few days, it's kind of moved odds. The favourites at the moment are Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. They're at 4-5. Dakota, Raquel, Gonzalez. So what it means in kind of British pounds is £10 on Dakota, Raquel, Gonzalez will get you £19 and 9 pence. £10 on Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon will get you £18. It's really, really close to call. Really, I think it could go either way. This match this is one of the matches I probably won't bet on the pay-per-view. It's just too close.
It's too close to call. I think they're gonna have to go with Raquel and Dakota because I think they're just pushing Raquel absolutely to the moon for her to be the next NXT Women's Champion. I think that's just the way it's gonna go because remember how War Games turned out, how she pinned Io Shirai. They haven't really had them to kind of go back and forth since then. So I just kind of have the feeling that they're gonna it's gonna be a solid matchup. But I do think Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez are going to win, and probably Raquel Gonzalez is definitely going to get the pin on one of these two women, just to, cement her winning the Dusty Classic, getting the pin in the match, and continue to build her into Io Shirai, probably for WrestleMania weekend takeover, and have her take on Io Shirai, then probably get the win there. I think that's how it might work out. I just think they're just pushing her too hard for it to not work out that way.
Well, I think I look at the analysis of this. Really, if you look Raquel and Raquel and Dakota together, they've been on really good run. Obviously, they beat Casey Carter and Caden, and they beat them. And then look at this as well. They haven't really lost the match as a team. The last time they lost as a tag team was back in November when they lost to Ember Moon, strangely, and Rhea Ripley. That they are the favourites, kind of going into this. In my opinion, I think it's just down to the Raquel Gonzalez factor. If they really want to push her, it's strange though. Ever since she won that match at War Games. There's not been much about her as a singles wrestler. The only thing that makes me question why the baby faces may get the win here is obviously the winner gets a shot at the tag team champions, which could be at WrestleMania. If we've got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler as the tag team champions, I can't see them doing heel versus heel unless they change the belts around, maybe.
The thing is, I'm not sure. I think, to be honest with you, I don't think they'll what they'll most likely do, I think, is switch the titles. Yeah, probably switch the tag team titles. So then I have heel versus heel. Most likely, I assume, is there a definitive saying by NXT that whoever wins this tournament for the women is going to get a shot at those women's championships?
Yeah, it was. I think it was announced on NXT this week. They announced it this week.
They definitely are going to get one, right? So, I don't know. I think it's going to be maybe like a pre-show match, to be honest with you, if that happens on WrestleMania. So I don't think they'll care too much about heel versus heel. But yeah, I just can't see. The only way I can see them losing this matchup, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, is if Dakota Kai is the one getting pinned. I don't think Raquel Gonzalez gets pinned no matter what in this matchup. I don't think there's any chance in hell she gets pinned in this matchup.
I agree with you 100%. She's not getting pinned. I think the thing is, it would be a shame for her to get pinned. It would undo all the good work they've done recently.
Yeah, exactly.
The interesting thing, the last point I'd make about it is the fact that when we look at kind of the other team, the Ember Moon team, they're yet to have a loss as a tag team. So this could be their first loss, which it makes me kind of worry. And it's strange the odds are not favouring Dakota Kai Raquel. I'm surprised by them odds, definitely.
Yeah, that is true as well. As the odds are kind of strange. Yeah, how's the favorite is Shotzi and Ember Moon. We got SCW Wrestling Channel in the chat. Buzzing for NXT Takeover should be a great show. Yeah, definitely should be definitely a great show. Like I said, I can't remember the last like bad NXT Takeover if there's ever been one. Like the weekly programming hasn't been great since the move to the network, to the USA Network. But the NXT Takeover has always been very, very stellar, very in-ring focused and well done, well produced. Let's move over to the next matchup, which is probably the men's Dusty Classic, where we have MSK taking on the Grizzled Young Veterans. Who you got? What are the betting odds for this one?
On the betting odds on this one, so MSK 8-15 and Grizzled Young Veterans are 11-8. So in British pounds, £10 on MSK will get you £15.33, and £10 on Grizzled Young Veterans will get you £23.75. So quite a big sort of favourites for MSK, really.
Yeah, which I don't know, because I'm not sure if MSK themselves are going to win this. I know they wanted them to have them show out this entire tournament, which they have. They came on strong, debuted in the beginning of the tournament to start it, and then they made it all the way to the final. But this is the second year in a row that Grizzled Young Veterans are in the finals of the Dusty Classic, and I kind of think they're just going to put it on them to kind of go and face off against. But again, you have that dynamic of heel versus heel. So Danny Burch and Orny Lorcan taking on Grizzled Young Vets is heel versus heel. So they may go with MSK in the end, but I don't think they're going to put the titles on MSK that quickly. That's the only thing.
No, maybe not. If I look at it, I think I look at this in two ways. Grizzled Young Veterans, they're on like a 5-run winning streak. The last time they lost was Imperium, kind of back in November.
Yeah.
Or sorry, back in December, sorry. So they're on this win streak. Obviously, MSK, since they've come up, haven't lost a match. They haven't really beat anybody of note. I'd say obviously they beat Fantosa, or the Mexican stable. They beat them last time. It's a close call, but for me, I think MSK, I don't see them sort of. You can't really have sort of two heels. I think win the Dusty Cup. There's going to have to be a babyface that wins for a little bit of a feel good factor. I think to me, I will be putting my money on MSK definitely.
Yeah, I would say probably. Yeah, you're gonna have Grizzled Young Vets be the bridesmaids kind of again. Kobe talks in the chat. What's up, Rated and Jones? Yo, what's up, Kobe? How's it going, man?
Hi, Kobe.
You excited for NXT, man? So yeah, I'm not sure. This is a tough one to call. It's a bigger, like you said, that MSK is the bigger favorite in here than they did for Shotzi and Ember Moon. But I just think, yeah, like either it's a tough call. But I'll probably have to go with MSK. I think they'll probably push these guys to the moon as a new upstart tag team in NXT and just keep pushing them. But I don't think they're gonna beat Lorcan or Burch.
Probably not, but the thing is, if MSK do get the win, Grizzled Young Veterans, obviously Zach Gibson's a fantastic promo. There's enough room there for them to have a rematch. I think this could lead to a rematch. Whereas if Grizzled Young Veterans get the win, it doesn't really lead anywhere for me.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah, and we could see what happens. Maybe Imperium gets involved in this matchup. They have been teasing Imperium a lot in those vignettes during NXT TV. So maybe they can get involved. I don't know if they go with a schmozzy finish or they'll go with a straight up clean win for MSK or Grizzled Young Vets. But yeah, you're right. If it's basically gonna give the other match away once you see the first tag match. Whoever, if it's the faces or the heels that win the first one, the opposite is gonna win the second one. Like you said, they're probably not gonna have the same for both going forward. 2 heels winning or 2 baby faces winning.
No, I agree. I think you make some excellent points. Spot on. I'd say that I'd agree with that. If I was booking, that's what I'd do. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Big time. Yeah. All right. So let's get to the next matchup here. Most likely will be Johnny Gargano, Kushida for that North American Championship. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here because of the fact that you still have Austin Theory there. You have Dexter Lumis in the mix, and don't forget about Leon Ruff as well. I think it's going to be a schmozzy, like a real like convoluted finish to this match. I'm not saying that's going to be a bad matchup, but I think that it might get hurt by a lot that may go on towards the finish. But what are the betting odds on this one?
Yeah, Johnny Gargano is 2-5 and Kushida's 7-4. So in money terms, £10 on Johnny Gargano gets you £14 back. £10 on Kushida gets you $27.50 back. So the bookies do think Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the right choice. I think yeah, that's probably the safe one there. I don't think honestly that Kushida's going to win in his first try at this NXT North American Championship. I think they want to give Gargano a bit of a longer run, especially since the title's been back and forth a lot recently. Because you had Keith Lee win it. He gives it away, kind of relinquishes it.
Yep.
Then you have Damian Priest win it, and then they go back and forth between Leon Ruff, Gargano, and then I think it's just been flip-flopping a little bit too much, so they want to have a little bit more of a stable champion in Johnny Gargano. Plus, Johnny Gargano finally beat his curse, so of losing in his first title defense. So I think they're just going to hold it on him a bit longer. Kushida probably maybe a longer run. I think they're building to like maybe a multi-man match. probably triple threat at Mania weekend with like Loomis, Kushida, and Gargano or something like that. But Austin Theory does play a big factor in this. So it's gonna. I think just in the end, it's gonna be a real smodgy, like convoluted finish.
Definitely. I think if I look at the analysis list to break this down further, so if we look at Johnny Gargano, Johnny's obviously only won one match this year, and that was against Dexter Loomis. He's obviously had this North American title since December, where he won it back at War Games. He's not had it very long. Obviously, where he won it back in these last 3 meetings with Kushida, obviously they're in a tag match. Gargano's won 1, he's lost 2. So far, obviously, he's not on a good run against Kushida. Yeah. If we look at Kushida as well, Kushida, he obviously has got recent wins over Austin Theory. And out of the 4 matches in 2021, he's got a 75% win streak. So he's on a bit of a run. Obviously, his biggest win probably was last year where he beat Velveteen Dream back in October at TakeOver 31. And he's also got victories over Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream previously. His last loss, though, was in November. So he's obviously been on a bit of a run. And that loss was to Cameron Grimes, which I'm surprised about. But for me, my money's on Johnny Gargano. I think there's going to be a screw job finish here. I think Kushida's got all the momentum going into this. So it says to me that Gargano's going to get the win here. The curse of Gargano's done. So it would do more damage to good for Gargano to lose this. I think it wouldn't do him a favor to lose, really.
Yeah, and I don't think Kushida with the run, like you said, you explained he's been on, him losing is going to have to be like a smodgy, like screw job finish with a lot going on. Like I said, it may end up hurting the match, to be honest with you. So go over to the chat. We Are Wrestling. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? You said it for NXT, We Are Wrestling. Kobe talks, excitement level would be about 7 out of 10. I get you on that. I get you. It's not like the card doesn't like jump off on paper, right? It doesn't really jump off at you, the card in general. But I think it'll overperform more or less than people are assuming it will. Gargano to retain. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Gargano it's a safe bet. Like, be honest with you, I just don't think they're gonna drop it off of him this quickly, especially with the whole, like we were talking about, the whole curse being done. The curse being done was the biggest thing about this entire feud, the entire thing with Johnny Gargano. I think it's kind of tipping the hat a bit, but like I said, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be convoluted. I think this is probably one of the worst matchups of the night just because the finish. I'm so adamant on the finish being kind of just too much because there's so many pieces involved. Probably I'm excited to see what Dexter Loomis actually does because I do find him extremely entertaining. You never know. He could be hiding under the ring for the most part or just kind of creeping in the perch somewhere in that Capitol Wrestling Center.
He's playing there to equal Austin Theory. He's kind of to take Austin Theory out of the match. But I think a screw job finish. I think it'll be all right from an in-ring perspective. Johnny Gargano is Mr. Takeover, so it will be okay. I don't think it'll be a bad match, but I definitely would go with Gargano all day long. I'm putting my money on it. It'll be Gargano, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet. Let's get to the next matchup, which most likely will be the women's triple threat. We have Mercedes Martinez. One of the luckiest people in WWE is Mercedes Martinez because she was taken out of Retribution and now she's competing for the NXT Women's Championship. So she's one of the luckiest people in WWE for that. Then, along with Toni Storm and the champion Io Shirai. It should be an interesting matchup. But what are the betting odds on this one?
Okay, so Io Shirai is at 2-5. Toni Storm's 10-3. Mercedes Martinez is 11-2. So in monetary terms, £10 on Io Shirai will get you £14 back, so that's £4 profit. Toni Storm, £10 will get you 43.33, so that's almost 3-1 on Toni Storm.
Yep.
And Mercedes Martinez is 11-2, so £10 will get you £65. So that says it all for me. Mercedes Martinez is the Matt Riddle in the triple threat. It's that she's there to take the pinfall in this match. That's for sure.
Yeah, totally. That's a really, really good point. Yeah, she is the Matt Riddle because like we're talking about. So at Elimination Chamber, it's gonna be the triple threat match, right? You have Matt Riddle, Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee. Matt Riddle is definitely in there just to take the pin from either Bobby Lashley or Keith Lee. It's the same thing with Mercedes Martinez here. It's just it's obvious at this point because she's not a legitimate threat to actually win this match. I think this is probably the most obvious match of every single match on the card that Io Shirai is just going to retain because again, it's a holding pattern to get her versus Raquel Gonzalez at WrestleMania weekend NXT Takeover. That's it right there. That's what it's all about. That's where they're booking it. That's what they're going for, and it's just the tip of the cap basically there.
I agree with you. Let's look at it like this. Io Shirai's got a better singles match win streak than Roman Reigns. She last lost a singles match back in December 2019 against Rhea Ripley. So she hasn't lost a singles match since then. It's crazy when you look at it like that. So when we look at her recent wins, she beat Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae. She's obviously had this belt since June, so she's on a really good run. She's even got a victory over Sasha Banks back at Great American Bash. So she's beat some big people. And when we look at kind of the opponents here, Toni Storm is she's not actually won a singles match this year by pinfall, so she's not on a good run. She did get a big win over Rhea Ripley back in December, and she's actually on a losing streak in 2021. Obviously, she did beat Io Shirai back at the Mae Young Classic back at WWE Evolution 2018. It's a long time ago.
Yep.
And then if we look at Mercedes Martinez, Mercedes Martinez has had too much since her comeback to NXT. She's won one and lost one. The one that she obviously kind of won was a tag match. So, yeah, she's the third wheel in this. But from an in-ring perspective, this is going to be a great match. I'm really excited by this. I'd like to see, obviously, Mercedes Martinez get pinned. And then we can obviously get Toni Storm and Io probably down the line. That could be another match, maybe on NXT.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be the thing in between the bridge in between this night, tomorrow night's pay-per-view and the WrestleMania takeover. Is going to be a bridge in between probably Toni Storm still vying for the title because, again, it's a triple threat. So she still has a claim at getting a singles match because they did throw Mercedes Martinez into this matchup for kind of no reason. But, I'm a fan of hers. I think she can be somebody special in the women's division, but given more time. It's just the fact that they brought her up to Retribution in the main roster and then brought her back down hurts her and kind of puts her in a spot where she doesn't really need to be in this, she shouldn't be in this matchup, but she is because, again, they want her to be the one to take the fall, not to hurt Toni Storm in any way. But it's basically like one of the most obvious matches on the card as to how the turnout's going to be. And the betting odds actually, prove that because of how large the betting odds are, especially against Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah, definitely. The betting odds don't always say how it's going to be. They're not always 100%. Obviously, going into kind of the Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan was set to win. He was like the favorite. So it's not always spot on, but it is a very good indicator. But that, to be honest, even if you didn't have betting odds, I would say Shirai, definitely. She's been on such a good run. I can't see her throwing down this sort of win streak now. This isn't the time really to throw it away.
Yeah, definitely not. Let's go to the chat. We got Kobe saying, "I'm going with Toni Storm to take the title." I mean, I don't think so, man.
If you do that, if you do bet and you go on Toni Storm, obviously gamble responsibly, you'll get a load of money back for that based on them odds.
Yeah, definitely would. Yeah, definitely would get it. I mean, you could, if you're going to bet on it, I'd probably bet on Toni Storm. Yeah, I'd bet on Toni Storm because there is a possibility, small one, that she ends up winning. But you'll come back, with a lot of money off of that one. Cena Nation Dog Radar for Wrestling retitle the stream NXT Takeover Vengeance Day predictions. Oh, damn. I messed that up. All right. Thank you, brother.
That's fine. I think it's just an exciting kind of pay-per-view. I think the thing is, even if you look at the betting odds, there's one of them that's bound not to be correct. The odds can change up to the day of the show. Look at Vince McMahon. Obviously, Triple H running NXT. They can change it right up to the minute. But I think for me, they've got to go with Io Shirai. She's that talented. I think it'd be a shame. But if Toni Storm wins, it's not a bad choice.
Definitely not a bad choice whatsoever there. But it should be pretty good matchup. I think it's probably going to be one of the better matches on the show. We got in the chat, Nonstop Wrestling chat, think Io keeping. Yeah, I think so. I think it's just a safe bet to keep Io. I think it's more, like we said, I think it's one of the more obvious ones that there is that she's going to hold on to this title.
What I'd like to see Io retain. I'd then love to see her face Xia Li. I think, although Xia Li hasn't really beat anybody since she's come back, for me, down the line, that's going to be a match. You've got a real good sort of build for Xia Li. She's looked $1 million since she come back. I think that could be naturally a good feud going into probably NXT maybe later in the year.
Yeah, I think so too as well. Makes perfect sense there. All right, so let's get to the final matchup. The main event most likely will be Pete Dunne taking on Finn Balor for that NXT Championship. This is I think it's another easy one to call, but what are the betting odds on this one?
Yeah, Finn Balor's 1-4 to win. Pete Dunne is 11-4. So in monetary terms, £10 on Finn Balor would get you £12.50, so £2.50 profit. And Pete Dunne, £10 on him would get you £37.50. So it says it all. Then betting odds say it already.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's pretty obvious because I think where they want to push this is to have obviously Karrion Kross eventually take on Finn Balor for the NXT Championship, most likely at Mania weekend. There are rumors that they may use, the NXT Championship defended on WrestleMania for one of the 2 nights of the WrestleMania event, which I think makes a lot of sense. I think legitimizes a little bit more the championship being on one of the biggest show of the year. But I think the money is Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, and it kind of sucks for Pete Dunne that that's the case, but it just happens to be that way. It's an issue of timing basically because Karrion Kross gets hurt after he wins the NXT Championship, beating Keith Lee, gets hurt in that matchup, relinquishes the title. Then you have Finn Balor take the title on. Then you have Pete Dunne come back into the fold in NXT, go through the whole thing against Undisputed Era with Pat McAfee and the crew. Then you get him into the title picture, but then Karrion Kross is making his return at the same time, so it just hurts him in the end. I think he would have had a better shot of maybe flipping the title if Karrion Kross hadn't made his comeback yet.
100%. I think the thing with it is Karrion Kross, for me, like when he first came back, he's still looking a bit injured. He's still not looking like he's got his arm fully back to kind of 100%, which is why it's almost like they want to put him in with Santos Escobar as a safe worker just to get him back to that kind of level. Because for me, he's definitely going to be the next challenger for Finn Balor. I think the show will end Finn Balor winning the match, and then it'll be Karrion Kross coming out, and there'll be that stare down. I think they have to do that if they're sensible.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's go to the chat. We have No Lara saying, I got Io winning and Finn Balor winning afterwards, cross attack setting up the next takeover. Yeah, I think that's probably the most probably the most plausible thing that might happen after this is just that itself. The fact that, Finn wins, Karrion Kross probably comes out afterwards and stakes his claim there. But remember, he does have the match against Santos Escobar this upcoming Wednesday on NXT TV, so they may hold off on that. But I think it's probably the best spot to do it is to have Karrion Kross take his claim right there that he's coming for that title. Kobe says Balor to retain. Yeah, agree with you there. SCW says Balor versus Dunne should be a 5-star classic. It has all the potential in the world to be the best match on the show and maybe a match of the year to start, to kind of start off this young year of 2021. Balor versus Dunne. It's one we've been waiting for a while, and we're finally going to get. Balor versus Dunne from Nonstop Wrestling. Balor versus Dunne will be awesome, but I think Balor is going to take this one. Yeah, I just think it's the safest bet, like we said. The betting odds, assure that as of right now that's going to be the case. That it continues that way. Kobe says, I could see Karrion Kross putting the sleeper on Finn Balor to end the show. Yeah, definitely. I think it's probably the biggest stage for them to do it on, and for Karrion Kross to kind of, like I said, stake his claim that he's coming for that title, and then you could continue the storyline throughout until Mania weekend. Big Boy Johnny, what's up, man? How's it going, Big Boy Johnny? Johnny G, what's up? But in terms of the match itself, how do you think it's going to play out? Do you agree that Karrion Kross is probably going to show up at the end and kind of close out the show that way?
Yeah, I think they've got to do that. The thing is, you've got to create an impact. Obviously, Karrion Kross has been feuding sort of with Escobar. That's kind of a pointless feud. So they've just kind of been building it, giving something to do. But I think he has to show up at the end. And when you are going to do this match at WrestleMania, it has to be the Demon. The Demon has to return for me. Yeah. And I think the only thing that makes me question whether Karrion will go and get the belt is they want Karrion Kross on the main roster eventually. I think that's the goal. So maybe Finn Balor will retain maybe at WrestleMania. It's not a long shot really at the moment.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that they would bring back the Demon maybe to take on Karrion Kross, because the two kind of similar characters in terms of like the supernatural and the darkness of the two characters. I don't know, maybe they could do something intermediately in between and have Karrion Kross surprise and win the title on NXT TV and then do the flip again later on or something like that. Because I don't know if you can hold the feud without them actually having a match or doing really anything of importance between now and WrestleMania, because we're still, under a little bit under 60 days away to WrestleMania, I believe.
It's a long time. That's the thing. It's a long time to build it, but then it's one of them things. Do you not have them touch for a while, if that makes sense? You're just going to have to do the slow build maybe, but that's going to be a really interesting match if it does happen, definitely. Yeah,
and it's the big money match. You already know they're going towards it. As soon as Karrion Kross came back, got into a little feud with Damian Priest, you knew that's where this thing was headed. You had Scarlett show up and kind of confront Finn Balor as well. So there's a lot of ways they can go with this, but the big money matchup is Karrion Kross, Finn Balor. In the chat, we got Kobe saying Demon versus Kross at WrestleMania 37. Yeah, that would be awesome, dude. Just the pageantry of it all, because Karrion Kross's entrance is very outlandish and out there with all that they do, the production value of it with Scarlett and all that. It'd be pretty awesome if for that to happen. Mary Jo, what's up, Mary? How you doing? Thanks for coming in the chat. Yeah, so I think that just the pageantry of it all would be super, super awesome if they were to able to do that and have the Demon versus Karrion Kross. Like I said, it's just so similar in character-wise that it could definitely happen. You got any other statistics to drop on this title match?
Yeah, we can look at it sort of the head-to-head. So if we go to Finn Balor first, Finn's obviously not lost a match since August 12th. So he's got this winning streak, obviously going back to sort of NXT Super Tuesday. He's obviously got 2 wins over Kyle O'Reilly, so he's going in as the favourite. Really, it's not betting odds obviously don't lie in that respect. Yep. When we look at Pete Dunne, he's obviously not had a match this year so far, but in his last 4 singles matches, he has got victories over Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Killian Dane. So he has beat the Undisputed Era. So he's a good number 1 contender. But from an in-ring perspective, this is going to be great. I just wish it was an Iron Man match, but that's me personally. That's my personal preference.
Well, to have these two guys in Iron, yeah, that'd be pretty cool if they did that. They're probably, but I don't know. They're very hesitant to pull those kind of matches out. Iron Man matches in general. They could just do a 30-minute Iron Man match. They could have been sufficient enough, but it would have been pretty awesome to have these two guys go for that long on this pay-per-view. But yeah, overall, we'll see how the betting odds end up working. Which ones are you putting money on yourself?
It's really, really kind of tough. I'm actually going to probably wait till tomorrow, because at the moment in this kind of country in England, we don't have any parlays or accumulators. The bookies don't like taking bets on wrestling. I think it's a trouble. If I can't, I'll probably go on to the Dakota and Raquel Gonzalez match because the odds are really, really good either way. And I'll probably go on MSK. Finn Balor, to me, looks like free money. I don't want to encourage anyone to gamble, but it does look like free money. You're not getting much back, so it's probably not worthwhile doing. But I'll definitely sort of get on something. I'm just waiting until they do kind of enhance fourfolds. What I mean by that is they choose 4 wrestlers. They let you back it, they let you bet on it and stuff, and then you can just, the payoff's quite good. I've had quite a lot of success with that before. Obviously, the Royal Rumble and stuff, it's quite easy to make money out of wrestling.
How much money did you come out with the Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble, I started probably with about 20 quid. I came out about 40. So you easily make your money back.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And who did you bet on at the Royal Rumble?
I just backed Bianca Belair. That was a cert. Roman was a cert. Drew McIntyre was a cert. Although I was quite worried during parts of the match, particularly when Goldberg started dominating. I was like, oh no. But, it just depends. You just got to kind of get the right thing. And the thing is now with betting in wrestling, if you really kind of look into it, there are certain bookies or bet makers that let you bet on sort of the method of victory, stuff like that. It's really kind of technical. It's quite good. It makes it fun. Don't get me wrong. Don't always win. Vince McMahon changes the show the day off. It can be a bit worrying, but yeah, it's pretty good, man.
Well, I'm surprised that they had Daniel Bryan as the favorite to win the Rumble. That's surprising as hell to me.
It changed the whole day. The only thing that really happened on the day was Seth Rollins. He came from nowhere, kind of up. But it's just one of them things, really. I think it makes wrestling fun. As long as you're only betting responsible and you can afford to lose what you bet, it's not too bad, really.
Yeah. In the chat, let's see. All right, this is a friend of mine, Johnny. He's kind of trolling with this question, but let's see how your take on this one. How's the celebrity match going to go down? Heard Bad Bunny started his rigorous training to kick some asses.
The thing is with Bad Bunny, it's a great addition. Obviously, you maybe have to say Anthony better than me. Obviously, here in England, we don't really know who Bad Bunny is. We haven't really got that appeal. But obviously, over in the States, he's everywhere. So the rub is given off to Damian Priest. It's a great move by WWE. I think it's clever.
Yeah,
for me, personally, I think he'll probably be a feel-good factor. He'll probably get the maybe get the pinfall potentially.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how they're booking that, right? So, all right, so they have Bad Bunny's huge over here in the Latin community, right? So I'm a fan of him, of his music and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of celebrities in wrestling in general, but he is a major fan. So I guess that's better than having a celebrity who doesn't really care about the product being in a match. So that's cool that he's there for that in that aspect. Now it's interesting. Yeah, they're definitely going for the rub with Damian Priest because in NXT you never heard Damian Priest really speak Spanish, right? I don't remember ever hearing him speak Spanish whatsoever. So now all of a sudden he's speaking it because he's with Bad Bunny. So they're really trying to appeal to that Latin community, especially the heavy Puerto Rican community, because all the history Puerto Rico has with Carlos Colon and out there with wrestling. So I totally makes sense. I understand as to why they're doing it. It's reason why they're doing a tag match, obviously, because they want Damian Priest to kind of carry it. In the end, I feel bad for Miz and Morrison.
Yeah, but Miz has been booked like a joke. Don't get me wrong, this Money in the Bank briefcase run, ever since Otis had it and then gave it back to Miz, it's just total. It just shows WWE don't really know what they're doing in that respect. They didn't really have a long-term plan for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Morrison's the one I feel sorry for because he's got the most talent out of the two, I've got to be honest. Yeah,
he's just, at this point, Morrison's just collecting a paycheck, and he's just there for the ride because they're not going to book him in any serious way whatsoever. So he's just collecting a paycheck, but good for him. He's making his money. I mean, if he's fine with it, he's fine with it. It gives him more stability than what he was doing before. I don't know, but yeah, that team is a joke, but it's going to become more of a joke after they lose to Bad Bunny. I don't know if Bad Bunny's going to get I kind of feel like Bad Bunny's going to end up pinning the Miz or John Morrison. I think that's just the way it work. Like Damian Priest will drop one of them and then have Bad Bunny get the pin and get the win.
I'll be disappointed with that. I think you've got to give the rub to Damian Priest really if you're going to pin one of them. But there we go. We'll see. I think it's one of them things. Another interesting dynamic from it as well is there is talk going around that they might drop the Miz out of that match and bring Angel Garza in because he's a Spanish speaker. So they may sort of do that instead, which would then free the Miz for the Money in the Bank potentially.
Try to save just a little bit, just a little tiny bit, a little shred of credibility that if he catches that thing in, he might end up winning. Johnny, you're right. It's going to bring in more viewership. That's what it is about. Like I posted a video, a rumor video on my channel, and I talked about how the amount of merch that Bad Bunny is just selling in just a short amount of time that he was announced to be at Royal Rumble to perform his song Booker T. And when they came out with that merch till now, it's up over $500,000 just in merchandise sale. He's up there with Roman Reigns, like as the two top merch sellers right now in the small period between Royal Rumble and now. And it's just amazing. It really is. It's nuts the fact that he's able to make that much of an impact. I heard they themselves are surprised at the fact that how much impact he's actually bringing in viewership wise or just in monetarily with this merchandise.
It's good. It's good to see that lift. It's positive, really. I think they need that positivity, and I think it's clever from WWE. The fact they got that merchandise, it was a right move, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. My cousin Eric in the chat. Eric, what's up? Raw is whack. They're gonna need more than Bad Bunny to raise him. I mean, yeah, Raw is absolutely.
He's on the money. Sorry, your cousin is on the money. Yeah,
he's on the money in that one. Raw is absolute garbage. But yeah, it's just I guess it get more his eye because like the whole point is to have him there. So if somebody is big into Latin culture, Latin music, they know Bad Bunny, they show up and they say, oh, he's on wrestling. I want to see what he does. And you just see the guy standing next to him and Damian Priest, he's speaking Spanish with him. Now he has the Puerto Rican flag now in his tights now on his pants. Damian Priest. So it's all just like subtle little things that they're throwing out there to get people who know Bad Bunny but don't really know wrestling that well to tune in and just see the guy next to him. It's like they may end up liking the guy next to him because he's friends with Bad Bunny. They relate to him on a level of culturally, and they may end up becoming new fans just because of that. So you're banking kind of on that and giving the rub essentially to Damian Priest, but it also helps because Damian Priest has a hell of a look to him. He has the size, has the look, has the charisma enough to be a star, and then he has that crossover appeal as well, where he can show up on Spanish-speaking channels. He speaks Spanish very well, and it'll be a good thing for the company in a whole, just for them to kind of cross promote and kind of move over a little bit with different types of markets, because they still pushing that NXT Mexico kind of shtick.
I think the transition from Damian Priest from NXT to WWE main roster has been really, really good. Credit to WWE in that respect. I think it's a clever move. He's been handled far better than other talent so far, but it is early days still. I'm just interested to see what they do, really. I think it's the good thing about Bad Bunny. I've heard this week, obviously, he's training in the Performance Center. So it may be another Pat McAfee. We might have another situation where Bad Bunny in the ring actually surprises us, potentially.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can hope for. They surprise us at this point, because, I mean, from what we've seen in the past and what we're going to see with Shaq on AEW, it's probably not going to be anything great, but you can't expect too much out of it. But yeah, we'll put a bow on this one. That's our NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day predictions. You got the betting odds there. You got some stats from Jonesy. Make sure you subscribe to Jonesy's channel and check out his videos and the podcast that he drops. If you're watching this one, you're not subscribed to either of us, subscribe to both. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate Jonesy for coming through, dropping some knowledge on you guys with some statistics and those betting odds. If you want, be smart with your money, but put some money on it. Have some fun with it. Makes it a little bit more interesting. And, in the end, if you lose money, you could be even more mad at the product than you already are. So, stay tuned for that. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll do another one eventually. Maybe we'll do a review of the show afterwards as well. We'll let you guys know, but stay tuned for that. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next one.